All right, CMAN Nation, it is another great day to enter CMAN Sports. I'm Eric Bierman, and as always, I'm here with Pat Klett and the CMAN, Bill Sanders. Good to be back with you boys. I hope you are both doing well. And guess what? We are up to what I like to call the Ocho, episode number 8. Did you guys realize we are up to the Ocho?
Yeah, Matt Hasselbeck.
Still haven't canceled us.
They have not canceled us yet. We may make it
My lucky
to
number,
number
boys.
9.
My lucky number 8.
Well, it is going to be another great episode as always. I got to tell you guys, though, what a crazy good weekend for football. Lots of upsets. As we all know, none were bigger than what happened in Nashville in the early evening hours on Saturday. The mighty Alabama Crimson Tide, who, by the way, 7 days earlier won an epic game against Georgia. And, they ascend to number 1 in the nation. Then they just go ahead and lose to Vanderbilt. Yes, Vanderbilt. A few things I just need to point out about this game, and I know you both already know this, but Vanderbilt, they were 23-point underdogs. They were 0-60 all-time against AP top 5 teams, 0-10 all-time against AP top number 1 teams. They had lost 23 straight against Bama, and the last 3, listen to this, the last 3 games they lost to Alabama by a combined 148-3.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. They have lost their last 19 home games against Bama, and the last time they beat them at home was in 1969. That is how
69.
historic. Yeah, I thought you might enjoy that year, Pat. It was definitely a historic upset. It was a very fun game to watch. I'm sure 99% of the nation was like me, rooting for the Commodores. I got to tell you, Vanderbilt actually looked like the better team throughout the game. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it did not seem fluky at all to me. And that quarterback, Diego Pavia, was just money. Although I'm not sure if you heard his post-game interview, but he got a little excited and may have threw an F-bomb out there on live TV. But that's all right. We're going to forgive him for that. But the whole point of this was it did get me thinking, guys, about other upsets in the history of sports. And in a minute, I'd love to hear from you guys about just some memorable upsets for you, things that just kept with you, that impacted you, good, bad, or just plain memorable. I think 2 that are super obvious and ones that we've actually talked about a little bit on this podcast are, of course, the Miracle on Ice and the App State-Michigan game, sadly. But I want to know from you 2 is what are some of the most memorable sports upsets for you and why? Mr. Klett, please start us off.
Well, it's nice of you to send us that link with the top 25 upsets of all time just to get the brain going.
Yeah,
I mean,
1906
White Sox over the Cubs, no one saw that coming. I know I didn't. But the Eagles over the Patriots with Nick Foles, that was a doozy. Texas over USC, the Vince Young game, I watched that one live. That was awesome. And Kirk Gibson going yard. I remember when I was a kid and I watched that one. But it kind of goes to show that there aren't that many large upsets. It's kind of a rare occurrence. But probably the number 1 upset ever was when I was in grade school and I beat my brother in Nerf hoops. And that was huge. I mean, he was basically a grown man at the time. And I schooled him like I was Allen Iverson and he was Mark Eaton. And from then on, I knew I was the best athlete in the house and potentially the world. And I still am today.
Just to be clear, we are saying that one of the biggest upsets of all time was Pat Klett.
Yes.
Going up against his big bro. Okay.
Nerf hoops.
All right. Nerf hoops.
Love that. Whose room?
My room. Yeah. So I had the home court advantage. Yep.
Yeah.
And it was probably my 5th attempt to beat him. But it was the greatest day in sports history.
How much older is your big bro?
He's 8 years older.
Oh, okay. Well, that's significant. Yeah.
So
It's
Mark
not
Eaton.
Irish twins.
Well, I have 3 older brothers, 8 years, 7 years, and 6 years older than me. So they're Irish
Wow,
triplets.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and we are Irish.
Bill, what do you have for upsets?
Oh, guys, this one. I mean, this request from Bierman to come up with this was like dredging up the worst possible memories that I could possibly think of as a Seattle sports fan. And I guarantee if you polled 100 Seattle sports fans, every single one would tell you this was the worst upset in Seattle sports history. 1994, the Sonics were the number one seed. It's best of 5 back then, right? And they just comfortably cruise over the Denver Nuggets in the first 2 games of that series. Everyone's thinking sweep. Somehow Denver wins game 3 at home. Game 4 goes to overtime. Sonics lose. Now it's coming back home. Seattle Coliseum, game 5. I mean, this Denver team barely made the playoffs, 42-40. The Sonics were 63-19. They'd won 37 of 41 home games that season. Dikembe Mutombo, rest in peace, passes last week, and I will always think of Dikembe Mutombo. I'm sure you guys also know the image, even though you're not Seattle sports fans. He's laying on his back with the ball clutched above his head, and he's just shaking the ball. And that image is seared into my brain, along with him giving the countless finger wags. Yeah, finger wags as he blocked Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, Percy Hawkins, Nate McMillan. You name the Sonic that was coming in there, they were getting thrown out. I'm not lying to you guys when I tell you, the game finished. We lost in overtime. I put on my rollerblades, and I left my dorm room at UW, and I rollerbladed around the UW campus, defying all things logical, life and limb, and just was going off staircases and jumping off things. And I mean, I just skated as hard as I could for 2 hours. That, hands down, is the number one upset, and it will never be topped in my life.
Yeah.
Bierman, how about you? You got a painful one that you can make a little better?
I went in a little different direction. I didn't really go painful. I just went like memorable upsets. I probably could have dredged up some from Michigan where they were big favorites. Obviously, we talked about the App State one, but I'm sure there were many more. But just a few kind of jumped out at me. I'm gonna start with one that is extremely off the radar and probably a lot of our listeners have never heard of, but I remember this as a kid. Have either of you ever heard of the college called Chaminade?
Oops.
It's pronounced Chaminade. Like lemonade.
Lemonade?
Do you know where they're located?
Yeah, Chaminade.
Is it?
Chaminade, Illinois.
I thought you were going to say Iowa, but that you were close to where I thought you were going to guess. At the time, they were an NAIA university in Hawaii.
Yeah, in Hawaii. I was right.
Yeah. They beat Virginia in 1982, but Virginia in 1982 was the number 1 rated team. They had 3-time National Player of the Year Ralph Sampson, as their center. Chaminade stunned the world 77-72. Now, it was during the regular season. Virginia still made the NCAA tourney and the Sweet 16. But I just remember this as a kid thinking this was crazy that a school I had never even heard of. And honestly, most people in this country have never heard of Chaminade. They've done nothing ever since.
Except for Bill.
But just thought it was crazy.
Well, I'm thinking of,
that's true.
What's their mascot? Do you know, Eric? Did you?
They are the Silver Swords.
Silver Swords.
The Silver Swords.
Wouldn't have come up with that. Give me 100 tries. Wouldn't have nailed it.
Yeah.
The sperm whales.
So it's just that one always stuck with me because I'm like, if a team like Chaminade can beat the number 1 team in the nation, any upset can happen any day. A couple others, Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson.
Oh yeah,
in
good one.
1990. I mean, utterly shocking. I don't think most people realize. I mean, everyone, Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson, but that guy was invincible in in 1990 when this happened. No boxer had gone past 5 rounds with Tyson in 4 years. I mean, he was considered unbeatable. This was truly supposed to be a tune-up before a heavily anticipated fight against Evander Holyfield, who had just moved up from cruiserweight to heavyweight. Everyone wanted to see that fight. Douglas was such an underdog. Most casinos didn't even set a line. Only one Vegas casino, it was the Mirage, set a line. He was a 42-1 underdog. It gets to the 10th round, had never gone past 5 rounds in the last 4 years with Tyson. Goes to the 10th round, hits him, knocks him down, can get up within the 10 count. Game over. Douglas was the heavyweight champ for 8 months until he lost his very first title defense against Evander Holyfield. It was crazy underdog. I mean, the guy just came out of nowhere, won, up, just upset, shocked the world, and was really never heard from again.
Was that fight in Tokyo, Eric?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, in Japan too, which seems like a weird place for a prize fight.
Yeah.
Right, like of that magnitude.
Yeah.
Well, that's where Nintendo was made, and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out was made. So,
hey, that could have been a marketing move.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Tyson also showed up looking quite doughy, if I remember right, didn't he? I mean, he was not in shape for that Buster Douglas fight.
I couldn't watch any of those. Didn't you have to pay for those? Was that pay-per-view back then too?
It was in the early, on the early stages of pay-per-view, but that one was pay-per-view.
I'm not rich
for sure.
like Bill
Yeah.
Sanders. I don't have that Bill Sanders money.
Well, no, we did the thing where it was like, hey, go to this like college party and you come in the door and you get like your keg cup but you also pay for a little bit of the fight or whatever. So we did that with the Buster Douglas fight. We did it with the Evander one. We did it with the Evander one where he bit his ear off.
Yeah, we did. I did that too, Bill. And they'd give out, you'd pay $20 and you get a card out of the deck. And if it was like a red 3, that was Tyson in the 3rd round, or if you got like a black 5. Yeah. So that was kind of cool.
That's a cool idea. I've never heard of that. Yeah. Hey, Bierman, I don't know if we have time or want to, but I also have a positive upset.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
If I can go. Did you have another one that you were going to fire off?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I just wanted to finish with a positive thing because the Denver Nuggets series still haunts me to this day. I mean, I still, again, Dikembe, rest in peace, died far too young, 58 years old. So sad. A great humanitarian, but man, that guy is one of my biggest villains in all of sports, right? I also remember, do you guys remember the names Robert Pack, LaFonso Ellis, Brian Williams? Like Denver had some guys.
Yeah.
They had some, and those guys were all young players at the time.
Yeah. I remember all of them.
Yeah, my positive one is actually, again, not sure that this is as big like worldwide as it would be for Seattle, but in 1995, the Mariners overcame a 13-game deficit in early August to catch the Anaheim Angels and go into a 1-game playoff. And I was there at the Kingdome for this 1-game playoff. And I don't know if you guys remember seeing this highlight, but it's just one of the classic moments in Seattle sports. Luis Sojo in the 7th inning. And you're like, who? Yeah, exactly. Luis Sojo, utility player for the Mariners. He like squibs this one off the end of his bat. Mark Langston, former Mariner draft pick and pitcher. It's against him. It's Randy Johnson against Mark Langston. Sojo squibs it down the right field line. It goes by Tim Salmon. It goes squirting down the right field line. Bases are juiced. All 3 guys come in. Joey Cora scores, and there's a throwing error. Everyone calls it an inside the park grand slam, but it was actually an error. So Sojo got credited for the double. But anyway, Sojo comes running around. And if you knew Luis Sojo, it'd make it that much funnier. The guy all 3 of us right now we could have out sprint Luis Sojo. I mean, he was the slowest human on earth. And so he comes all the way around, and Rick Riz, longtime Mariners announcer, has this great call where he says, Joey Cora scores. Everybody scores. And the Kingdome was just going nuts. And then there's this picture of Mark Langston. So this is a good juxtaposition from my Dikembe story. Mark Langston is just laying on his back on the turf of the Kingdome as the Mariners have just taken this big lead in the one-game playoff. And anyway, they went on in that same year then to beat the New York Yankees in the first round in the 5th game, and that's that Edgar Martinez double down the left field line. I'm sure you guys have seen the highlight at some point, but again, Joey Cora scores and Ken Griffey Jr. That moment and sharing that with my dad in the 300 level of the Kingdome as we're like doing this jump hug in unison as the Kingdome is just absolutely going bonkers. No one thought the Mariners were going to beat the Yankees in that series. And that comeback was against Blackjack McDowell. It was just like such an amazing moment. Mariners, of course, went on to lose to the Cleveland Indians right after that. But, you know, just an amazing upset. Just for the Mariners to get to the playoffs was crazy. And then to beat the Yanks in 5.
There is nothing better than an awesome upset like that. It's really one of the coolest, most compelling things about sports. I think it's why we watch sports, honestly, to see if the unexpected can occur. Can the little guy win? Can David beat Goliath? And oftentimes it does happen, and it is so cool when it does. Congrats again to the Vanderbilt Commodores for a win for the ages, and I hope Nashville enjoys it. All right, boys. Well, we have a busy and awesome episode as always. We're going to start with the headlines from this past weekend. We'll get into our hot takes and reflections, our stone cold locks. We'll get into our top 5, which takes on a golf slant this week, our Nailed It segment, and lots of fun and shenanigans along the way. All right, headlines from this past weekend. Well, we talked about the Alabama shocker, but there were certainly others. 5 of the top 11 in the AP lost on Saturday, and all were on the road, which just shows how tough it is to travel and win in-conference road games. Number 1, Alabama was one of those. Number 4, Tennessee looked very sloppy and bewildered in a loss to the Razorbacks in Fayetteville. Number 9, Missouri got crushed by Texas A&M in College Station. My beloved number 10 Wolverines in the Purple Maze game. To your beloved Huskies, Bill, congratulations.
Thank
Your
you.
team
Thank you.
looked good. They brought it. But I am happy that Michigan finally put in Jack Tuttle as their quarterback, and I think that could make a difference going forward. Number 11, USC loses to your Golden Gophers, Pat, in a surprising one. Congratulations.
I missed that one. That was my lock. That didn't work.
Yeah. I still can't believe it. Yeah.
They don't stop rowing the boat up there in Minnesota, do they?
No.
RTB.
Yeah.
See you, Ma.
And those, you know,
Sky-U-Ma.
Sky. Shoot.
Sky-U-Ma.
Screwed it up.
Mm-hmm.
There were other top 25s to lose as well, including Louisville against an up-and-coming SMU Mustang squad. I think the ACC might be a little sorry that they invited them in. Number 25, UNLV lost to Syracuse. And for the second week in a row, the Miami Hurricanes win in the final seconds, this time clawing back from a 3-score deficit against the Cowbears. My Bengals lose a heartbreaker in OT to the Ravens, coughing off 10-point lead in the final 6 minutes and then missing a 53-yard field goal in overtime. I think their season might be over. The Vikings win again. They are 5-0 along with the Chiefs, but more importantly, they're the only team, Pat, in the NFL that is 5-0 against the spread this season. Congratulations, Vikings, and all Viking backers. The Commanders behind. Yes. Keep betting them.
Yeah.
The Commanders behind Jaden Daniels continue to look legit. They crushed the hapless Browns 34-13. The Cowboys win a last play squeaker against the Steelers to possibly save their season. And Survivor leagues are basically over with the Niners and the Seahawks, both 7-point favorites, losing, which, by the way, I saw that Mike Shanahan, coach of the Niners, was 38-0 when leading by 10 or more points in the fourth quarter. That streak ended on Sunday. So a lot happened. Another fun weekend to be a fan. So what are your big takeaways from the weekend, boys? Pat, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I was just watching the Royals Yankees, but I was like, lights were blinking off my face So when I was looking at this, I was like, I should turn that off. But sports gambling is legal in Michigan. I'm on a road trip to Michigan, and so I was like, all right, let's put a couple of $100 into an account and see what we can do. And I picked the over tonight for the baseball game, over 8 runs. So that's not looking good for the Yankees.
What's the
Royals.
score right now?
Yeah, what's the score?
I think I turned it off. It was like 1-0 Yankees. Last I checked.
2-2.
2-2 now. All right, keep those
2-2,
runs
6.
going.
Looks like the
But
Yanks are
I did
threatening.
a futures bet on the Vikes to win the Super Bowl, and my week started. I drove overnight and listened to the Falcons game on the radio in my truck, and you can barely hear because it's so loud in there. But that sounded like an exciting game. And is it Kevin Harlan? Kevin Harlan does the radio on Thursday nights, and for Westwood One, and he does a good job. So that was how it started, and then. I think for college football, I need to narrow my focus down to 20 games or 20 teams, and just focus on them because I am getting killed in college football. I can't pick a winner at all. I think I need to just look at 20 teams instead of 120 and or just focus on the
You've had a good start.
Yeah,
Ben Harper.
Yeah, but that's mainly pro. If you look at my bets in Ben Harper, I'm mainly focused on pro games. Yeah, but I am winning my. Do you know the Odyssey pool, Bill?
Yeah. I saw that. You got a shout out.
I'm in second place out of 500.
Nice.
Some people. So I got the Vikings, the Commanders, Jacksonville, Washington, Tampa Bay, and Houston. And had Tampa Bay won, I would have got a perfect 6 for 6 and extra bonus points and been in first place. But so that's a fun pool. If you don't know that pool, Eric, it's like you get $25, like a fake $25, and you get teams that cost money. Like the Chiefs cost $8, and the Panthers cost like $1. And you put together some people have like 9 teams, others have 4, anywhere from like 4 to 9 teams, and you get points on how they do. Every win is a point. If they make the playoffs, you get bonus points, and that's not part of the Sandman Nation. So I am seeing someone else, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, cheating on us.
But it's going well.
That's a fun one. He does a nice job with that pool. Remind me his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's Dan something. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Mike.
But he does a real nice job. That's right, Mike Jacobs.
Mike Jacobs. Yep.
Mike Jacobs. Yeah, he does a really nice job on that pool.
What else? But yeah, college. I missed a lot of the college games because I was working, but Sunday I got to see a lot of the football. And that Bengals game, Ravens Bengals was awesome. So fun to watch. Did you see that one, Eric?
Just twist the knife.
Yeah, that's not very nice of you.
That's not nice.
By the way, you look like you're in fucking witness protection program right now, dude. Could you get some light on you?
Well, see, I gotta wear a hat. I was always told the way your hat is the direction your life is going. So I try to wear my hats.
Would not approve.
I try to wear my hats forward. What else? Yeah, so that's all I got. But I'm now an online bettor, and I kind of like it.
Nice. So we can text you. I can text you to get plays in. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, if you want.
There you go.
Nice.
For the next week.
Your photo's gonna be eating up.
Sanders
Bill
again. Sanders again.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, this guy. He lives in Washington State, where we're 70 years behind the times.
One of these days.
So ridiculous. Goodness gracious. Mass transit, 70 years behind the times. Gambling, 70 years behind the times.
Yep.
For
what
me.
Do you got, Bill?
Yeah, for me this week, Eric, you already mentioned it, but just to highlight that, just upsets galore, so much carnage. I mean, I still just for everybody listening and watching, just to understand what happened in Sandman Survivor this year, we went from 555 players to 3 in 5 weeks. That is ridiculous.
Incredible.
Absolutely ridiculous. And then in Guts, which is the college a college version of Survivor, 31 people lost this week, down to 20. Started with almost 200 entries. All you got to do in that pool is pick a winner in college football from the universe of 40 teams. It is crazy to me that it's down to 20 already. This week you had, Eric mentioned some of these, but Louisville, Arizona, USC, just some massive upsets in college too.
Yeah.
Not one person took Alabama, and that's because the spread was so big, no one wanted to take them. So not one person went out in guts on that Alabama game. And just a real quick addition to your Vandy Alabama thing. Did you guys hear that the student body carried the goalposts through the streets of Nashville and dumped it in the Cumberland River?
Yes.
Why? Right? And then
That's
apparently 20
firefighters.
Saved, 20 firefighters, Nashville firefighters, actually had to go into the Cumberland to retrieve the goalpost, which I just thought was insane. That's just
and
college
now pieces
football.
of it are being sold off, and
Is
the
it?
proceeds are going to fund
Firefighters.
I think it's called Anchors Away or some sort of NIL fund for Vanderbilt athletics.
Vanderbilt.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, what a crazy scene. Obviously those kids had some pent up energy from Vanderbilt football. But the other one, I have a little mea culpa, guys. Was I wrong about Bo Nix? Denver won 3 in a row now. He looked pretty good against the Raiders. I mean, am I just ready to admit maybe I was wrong about this kid? I don't know. And then the other thing that I just wanted to point out for the NFL this week, did you guys see that there are 10 road favorites this week out of 14 games? That is nuts. Never happened.
That's interesting.
In the history.
No, I had no idea.
10 road favorites this week. Crazy lines. Could be a weird week. Last week we didn't feel great about all the picks. This week I just was like, gosh, I don't know. So those were my hot takes this week, Eric. What hit you?
All right. Well, I just want to spend a little time giving a shout out to some unsung teams in college football. I'm going to start, not going to be a surprise to you two, with the Indiana Hoosiers. It is no surprise to our listeners either that I love this team and what Coach Kurt Cignetti is building. Just so awesome. My family and I are actually going to the Michigan game there in early November. And I bought my tickets about 10 days ago because I'm actually afraid they're going to continue to skyrocket in price. And I do actually believe Indiana is going to be favored in that game by the time that rolls around. So Indiana is 6-0 for the first time since 1967. And they became the first team to officially become eligible for a bowl game. Just a few other under the radar teams that I think deserve some shout outs. Iowa State is ranked 11th and is 5-0 for the first time since 1980. And honestly, they look like the best team in a wide open Big 12. This is finally the year that Matt Campbell gets plucked by a big boy program. Pittsburgh is 5-0 for the first time since 1990. And quarterback Eli Holston is fast becoming one of my favorite college football players this season. He's just so good and fun to watch. Question for you two. Any idea who has the longest current regular season win streak right now? It was Georgia until last week's loss against Bama. It is now the Liberty Flames, who won an overtime thriller last night and have a 17-game regular season streak to top the nation. They're 4-0 this season. And, of course, we have to mention Army and Navy, two of the most storied programs in college football history. They are both 10-0 combined, the first time that they have been 10-0 combined since 1945.
Crazy.
And all bowl decisions.
Wasn't that during World War II?
It was. World War II.
Who
was the last time?
Army, Navy were undefeated. Yeah. I thought they'd be at war.
Yeah, that's great.
Cancel the games.
Good duty for those guys that got to play football.
Exactly. Yeah. Normandy or Annapolis for the football game. What's also interesting, all bowl decisions, including the playoffs, will need to be made before their end of season tilt, which could make things pretty interesting in terms of some decisions made there. Yeah.
Yeah, good for the service academy schools.
I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
All right. Well, guys, talking about cool and awesome stuff, I'm telling you, our Stone Cold Locks, people need to listen to us. They need to bet their hard-earned money and cash those tickets. We had another great week again. Bill, you went 3-0. I
fire.
went 2-0-1 because Rutgers had to score a stupid last-second touchdown. And Pat went 2-1. Guys, since we started this podcast and doing our Stone Cold Locks where we pick 3 games each week, we are 35, 16, and 3, which means if you bet $100 on each game with the juice, you would be up $1,740. So,
Incredible.
Great job, boys. Let's keep it going. Bill, you're 13-4-1. You've got the lead right now. Pat, you're just 1 game behind at 12-5-1. And I am at 10-7-1. I am excited to hear what you boys have for us this weekend, as I know we're going to keep the hot streak going. Pat, lead us off.
All right. I got a feeling this is your Cincinnati team is going to pound New York. And I know the Giants.
You might be right.
The Giants have started to look better lately, but this will be a response game for Cincy. I felt like their offense was clicking. It was just who's going to score, almost like who's going to score last again. So their offense looked like they were clicking. Daniel Jones is Daniel Jones, and the Giants aren't Lamar Jackson, aka the future MVP of the league, Lamar. So yeah, I'll take Cincy, and they're laying 3.5. So
I'm kind of numb to betting the Bengals these days, but if I'm being honest, I think that's probably a pretty good bet, Pat. Bill, what do you got?
Yeah, for me, Eric, you mentioned this game earlier, and you mentioned Pitt being 5-0. Guys, did you see that collapse by the Cal Bears last week against Miami? I mean, game day was awesome out there in Berkeley. Marshawn Lynch as the celebrity guest picker or whatever was awesome. The whole show, Cal showed up. It was amazing. The game wasn't until late into the evening Pacific time, and the Bears were laying it on the Hurricanes, and then Cam Ward just decided that he was going to be Cam Ward, and they destroyed Cal in the fourth quarter. Came back, won that game late. I just don't see how Cal recovers from that this week. They've got to travel back to Pitt. Pitt is giving 3, so I'm on Pitt -3, Bierman, for my first one. Not much more than just an emotional and physical toll, and a team that's got to travel now all the way across the country. I just don't think they're going to be ready. They keep it close, but Pitt pulls away. Give me Pitt -3 all day.
Bill, I'm feeling good, though, about this week again. You know why? Because my first pick is Pittsburgh -3.
Brilliant
Pittsburgh
minds, Bierman. Let's
quarterback.
go.
I told you, man, Eli Holstein, he is quickly becoming one of my favorite players in all college football. He's gritty, very skilled, complete control of this explosive Panther offense. Pitt ranks 9th in total yards. They're putting up nearly 40 points per game. They are hosting a California team that, as you said, just blew a big lead at home to Miami in a heartbreaking loss. Now the Golden Bears have to travel across the country for this ACC showdown, which is still just so weird to say. I think they're going to feel the effects of last week's collapse. To make matters even worse for Cal, they rank near the bottom in the nation in penalties. They commit almost 10 per game. Pitt is undefeated both on the field and against the spread. I am betting that they are going to continue that trend. They are in great position to keep both streaks alive. I love Pitt -3.
Nice.
Pat,
I wrote that down since you guys are both so adamant about it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go on my new website, and I'm gonna click on Pitt, and I'm gonna bet everything.
Nice.
I'm putting all of it on there. And if I lose, It's your fault.
Blame Bierman.
My second one was Detroit and Dallas over 52.5. It's a big number for the NFL, but I feel like there is not a number high enough for this track meet. Big game, Goff again. They just had their bye week, so he'll be ready to go. Big game, I feel like Dak and CeeDee Lamb are ready to take off. Probably get some fluky points somewhere else, but or perhaps an overtime over, because I feel like this will be a close game. So give me the over in Detroit and Dallas.
For my second Stone Cold lock, Bierman, curious to see if you were thinking the same again, but I'm going to follow my beloved hometown Huskies to Kinnick Stadium. We got two really good defenses playing. I mean, I was stunned when doing some research on this. The Washington defense, you guys, is 11th in the nation in scoring defense. If you put together the Huskies roster and told me before the season started that they would be anywhere near the top 50 in scoring defense, I would have said you're out of your mind. I mean, you have to give Coach Steve Belichick props for putting this defense together. And I don't even want to hear about what teams they've played so far. It's just incredible to me that they're in the top 50 right now, and they're 11th. So Iowa's got a good D, and so I'm on this game. I'm looking at the under 42.5. I think Iowa's going to just take the air out of the ball. They're going to run the living stuff out of it all game long. And I think this is going to be a close, hard-fought game, Big Ten battle, Big Ten football. Give me the under 42.5. Last thing on this one, I'm just going to point out, I don't know if you guys watched the Manning cast on Monday night, but Bill Belichick was on it, and he's rocking Husky gear on it. I don't know if you saw that, but it's just like I never thought I would see the day when Coach Bill Belichick is rocking Husky gear on a national broadcast. Totally crazy.
There have been a few times, Bill, there have been a few times this year when we've been doing these podcasts where you will say, you know, an over-under or a team, and you'll explain your logic. And it's one that I missed or didn't really think about. And I'm like, holy crap, that just feels right. That is one of them. I didn't look at that. I'm not typically a big over-under person, so it's not the first thing that I gravitate to, but that seems like a high number for those two teams. So I will be betting that one. Thank you for that. I am going to go with Knoxville. I'm going to go to the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm not sure what team showed up in Fayetteville last Saturday, but it was not the Tennessee Volunteer team that we've seen all season. Their offense just looked downright dreadful, which is shocking because they still rank 15th in total yards and 11th in points per game after that bad showing. I will say I did predict that upset, but that was a tough spot for Tennessee against the fired up home crowd and just to determine Razorback team. The Volunteers, they are back in the comfort of Neyland Stadium this week. They face a struggling Florida Gators team. Florida ranks 84th in total yards, 109th in yards allowed. Tennessee's offense is recharged. Their defense still is ranked second in the nation, believe it or not. I just don't think the Gators have any chance here. I like Tennessee to win going away. Give the points.
And the poor Gators, I think their next 5 games, they got like Georgia, Tennessee. They have no rest. Poor Billy Napier, man. That's unfortunate because I loved Napier with the Raging Cajuns. You know,
I did
when
too.
he was with that team. Yeah, that's too bad.
Bierman, what's that line at?
15.5.
15.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh, that feels like a boat race. Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Yep. Tennessee minus 15.5.
All right,
number 3. Off, Pat.
All right, I got Denver getting 3 points at home. There's one of our home dog matchups versus the Chargers. First of all, I love their helmets. I mean that they got to keep those.
The Razorbacks made you think of the helmets, didn't it?
No, when I watched the highlights of the Denver game, I was like, "Ooh, those are nice helmets." Yeah, and second, they seem like a team that can keep it close at home. I feel like Denver at home can keep games close. I feel like if they get on the road, they might get smoked. But they beat the Jets. Okay. they beat the Raiders, could kind of see that happening. But a divisional game, Bo Nix seems serviceable. He's not collapsing under the pressure of, probably because he had so much college experience, that transferred into the pro game easier. So yeah, I think Denver getting 3 points at home is my stone cold lock number 3. Lock it in. Did you write that down? Eric, did I just see you write that down?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
You did.
I wrote it down.
Book it.
Well, I write it down because I capture all of our picks.
But because it was such a good one.
I can update the audience. No, I didn't say that.
No. Okay. That's fine. I understand.
I think I hope that we all just stay hot. It's cool to hear the stats at the beginning, Eric, as you laid that out there. I mean, that's pretty nuts start for us in this Stone Cold Locks.
Yeah.
I believe, and this is the kiss of death I'm putting on myself now, but I believe my third Stone Cold Lock, if this hits, would be 12 in a row for me.
Yeah.
I think I've been 3-0 for 3 straight weeks.
You have been. Yeah.
So this is crazy. I mean, this is just, this is nuts. So I'm going to try to stay hot here, and I'm going to stick with my beloved Huskies because I just think they're going to go on the road after that Michigan game, and they're going to beat Iowa straight up.
Wow.
So I'm taking UW plus 2.5 is what I saw the line at.
Yeah.
And here's the little bit of research I'll drop in there. So the Huskies' strength has definitely been quarterback Will Rogers this year, and they've got a wideout named Denzel Boston. The kid's been really, really good. I was really surprised in looking at Iowa that their pass defense has actually been pretty subpar this year. So I feel like the Huskies go into Kinnick and they figure out a way to throw the ball around. Huskies got a couple of really good young tight ends as well. And I just feel like those kids are going to make a couple plays and the Huskies come out on top. I see 20-13, guys. That's the score I'm thinking.
Well,
how's your mark that down?
How's your guys' run defense? Is Vita Vea still there?
Yeah, I wish Vita was there. Yeah. No, the run defense has been a little bit suspect, but they did enough against Michigan last week. And again, and Bierman, to your point about Tuttle, watching Alex Orji play, I was just like, this guy is so bad.
He's so bad.
So bad.
Are you saying there's no more Orji?
Yeah, orgies. The orgy
is the orgy.
The orgy is not. What?
The orgy is done. Yeah, and also Tuttle, such a great name. And we may have talked about this on a previous pod, but do you remember the movie Volunteers with Tom Hanks and John Candy in the 80s? And Tom Tuttle from Tacoma, Washington was John Candy's character. And so every time I saw Tuttle last week, I'm just thinking about John Candy wearing his Washington State Cougars jacket and singing the Washington State fight song in that movie. It's classic. Anyway, UW plus 2.5.
All right. All right. I like it. So, boys, we cannot go 9-0 this week.
Oh, no.
Pat, what you saw me writing down was WTF next to your pick. We are going with the Chargers. I don't know where you saw 3. I saw 2, but we'll go with 3 just to, make you feel a little bit better here. I am going against a 4-1 against the spread team this week in Denver. The Broncos have been good for gamblers. Despite the Chargers' offensive struggles, they have been very careful with the ball. They turn it over only once every 2 games, so I like that. I was tempted to bet the under in this game at 36.5 because we have 2 bad offenses facing off against 2 what I would call top tier defenses. Denver is ranked in the top 3. Chargers is at number 5. However, I think Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense, I think they're primed for a breakout. They just had the bye week to rest, to get some things adjusted. Denver also, by the way, they have a great defense. They are not very disciplined. They average over 7 penalties per game. I think they're going to give the Chargers a few extra chances to capitalize. I'm backing the Chargers here. I think they're going to get a mid-season surge going starting this Sunday. Give me the Chargers minus the 3 points.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, gonna be another great weekend of action. 8-1. I am feeling it. All right. We are to our top 5. This is going to be a fun one. Bill Sanders came up with this topic. Thank you, Sandman. We are going to talk about our top 5 favorite golf courses that we have played. Pat Klett, I'm very excited to hear. I'm interested. I'm excited to share mine, but I'm very interested in hearing what you two have played because I may want to get out there someday. So, what do you got, Pat?
Well, we all know that it's not the course, it's who you're with. So put me on the nicest course and pair me up with Tits McGee or John Cocktoaston. I'm, I probably won't have as much fun as if I'm on a podunk course with Bill Sanders and Eric Bierman. So
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. But yeah, I think my fifth favorite course would probably be the Hermitage golf course that I got to play. That Bill,
Nashville, Tennessee,
in
baby.
Nashville. Bill, you weren't invited.
I am not kidding you, Pat. I almost put it as my number 5.
Yeah, I thought it was such a cool course. There's sheep on the course.
It's a great course.
There's sheep on the course, keeping the rough down. We went in, we bookended the trip with a night in Nashville going in and a day in Nashville before our late flight going out, and it was a great weekend.
Course.
But the course was okay, but it was just so cool that it was so close to Nashville.
Yeah.
The location was perfect.
I played it a couple times.
The layout was okay. Yeah. I mean, there weren't any memorable holes, like signature holes, but it's cool because they have cottages you can stay at there.
Yeah.
There's two different courses. There's sheep, as I said, and, walking around, which is weird to see. So yeah, I had that as my number 5 course that I have played.
Number 4?
Oh, I do it 5 and 4.
See, you did what I did last week.
I know.
You did what I did last week.
I was thinking we were going to move on. And I wrote all these 5 down last night.
We're at episode number 8, people. We're at episode number 8. Act like you've been there before.
No.
You and I need to tighten it up.
Eric is a bully, and I cannot handle it. And now the pressure's on. I'm like, what do I do? Number 4 course for me is Sand Valley in the middle of Wisconsin, from the makers of the Bandon Dunes courses. Sand Valley is a links golf course. Okay, so the only negative is there's no carts. They give you push carts, but you can push the carts onto the greens, so you can just take it with you everywhere. You don't have to leave it. It's wide open. I played the same ball on 36 holes, so I didn't lose a ball. Whereas like 2 weeks before this trip, I went to Alabama. I lost like 40 balls where you hit it left and it's, you run into a water moccasin. Here it's wide open, and there's tons of different ways to play the hole and to play to the hole. So you can send it up high. You can, bump and run it down. It's a great course. It plays really true. And the coolest part about it is the greens are amazing. But after you play 18, they have this little par 3 course called the Sandbox, and they give you get like a golf bag. It's like one of I don't know if you remember those old school tube golf bags, really small, but you pick 3 clubs.
Oh yeah.
You pick 3 clubs and you go play, and most of the holes are like 50 yards, 70 yards. I think the longest one's like 130 yards, but the greens are immaculate and undulating, and it's just a coolest course. It's a great way to finish after you play 18 to have like a fun round.
That's cool.
It's called the Sandbox.
Cool.
So Sand Valley, middle of Wisconsin, really cool.
Sand Valley, awesome.
I love that.
What do you got, Bill?
Yeah, Pat, it was so cool to me that both of yours were like a segue into my 5th one, which is at Bandon Dunes, Sheep Ranch. So you mentioned the sheep at Hermitage, and then the tie-in there is just super cool. The par 3 as well at Bandon is so fun, and I played it a few different times, and twice was in like Caddyshack level rains and wind, and the experience, as Pat mentioned at the beginning, the experiences to me are so much about the people you're with, the event, the occasion, whatever. I found all these memories kind of tying back to that. But I love Sheep Ranch, and in part similar to what Pat said with Sand Valley, super wide fairways, very playable. I mean, for me, if I'm playing well at a decent golf course, maybe I'm going to shoot around 80. And at Sheep, I think I shot 80 and 81 or 82, something like that when I played it. And so it's fun. It's gettable. You're not losing a lot of golf balls. I've had really good experiences with the caddies there. Bandon Dunes is really fun. If you have not been there, obviously it's hard for
Hard to
you guys
get
to
to.
get there. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
hard. It's hard to get there from here, from Seattle. So I love the drive. It's about 7 hours or so to get down there from Seattle, but Sheep Ranch is my number 5. Tons of fun. My number 4 is one that you guys would never have heard of. It's a public track out here in Washington State. It's on the east side of the mountains in a little town called Leavenworth. And Leavenworth is like a Bavarian style kind of tourist trap type town, but this little golf course is just a gem, and it's cheap to play. When I was young, my dad and I would get up early. We'd be over in Iniat, Washington, which is located on the Columbia River. My buddy, the Cottons family, they had a 5-acre apple orchard. They still do. 5-acre apple orchards where my wife and I got married later in life. But my dad and I would get up from camping in this orchard, and we would just cruise 45 minutes into Leavenworth and play just dew sweeping and this beautiful track right on the Wenatchee River. Just unbelievable views. The course is in great shape. Tons of fun holes. Not super long, so it was playable. And one of the coolest memories that I have of playing golf as a kid was at Leavenworth. And that was my dad and I getting paired with this single. And this guy was, and I don't remember how old he was, but he shot his age that day that he was paired up with us. And I want to say that he was 80. He might have been 79 or 78. He was an old timer. And this guy just hit it down the middle, putt, putt. And my dad, meanwhile, we are spraying the golf ball all over the golf course. And this old timer is just laughing at us like, you guys are doing this sport wrong. And it was just, he was such a cool guy, and it was such a great experience. And Leavenworth's just such a fun golf course. My wife and I just got over there to play it for our 20-year anniversary. We stayed over in Leavenworth and we went to play it. And it's just, I mean, so many great memories at that golf course. Bierman, what do you got for your 5 and 4?
Well, if I was putting legit number 5, I honestly probably would have put the Hermitage. Great course, as Pat said, right near Nashville. Pretty cool. But I'm actually going to start with a course that I think most people would think would be in their top 5, but I was actually very disappointed, and that was Harbortown in Hilton Head, where a PGA event is played every year. It was super expensive. Our caddy was not very good at all, was not very personable. The course was just kind of blah. Yeah, you get the last couple holes with some ocean views, but it just was not worth it at all. Walked away very disappointed. For number 4, I'm going to go with a local Cincinnati course that most have not heard of, but it's called Camargo Country Club. It's very elite. It's typically ranked as a top 100 course in the United States. I actually got to play it because I was playing a public course here in Cincinnati as a single one day. I ended up playing with another guy. We kind of just hit it off. Turns out he was a member there, and he invited me to play there a couple times. So got to play. He has since passed away, unfortunately, so I have not played in a few years. But when I got a chance to play, the course was extremely well kept. It's challenging, but it's not impossible. Very, very big greens, which is kind of unique. No gimmicky holes, just really nice. And of course, you get the country club feel. So pretty cool experience for me there. Pat, what do you got for 3 and 2?
Number 3, I had the pleasure of golfing with Bill Sanders once, and we went to Deacons.
Oh,
Bill,
my
do you remember
goodness.
Deacons up north?
Loved it. I almost had it on my list.
Oh, it's just beautiful course.
One of my favorite Minnesota tracks. Yeah.
Northern Minnesota actually has a ton of really nice golf courses. A lot of gems. Ton of woods, though, so bring a few sleeves of balls because they tease you with these inviting drives. You know, you look out and there's a almost like a great launch pad. But if you go, there's danger everywhere. And if you go out of bounds, you are looking, you're hoping you can punch out, but you get in there and you got prickle bushes and dense forest and a lot of times. But it's absolutely immaculate up there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Deacons is nice, and it's a nice setup too. You get there, you go to the range. You don't have to buy range balls; it's included. It's I like those courses that give you everything, give you all the bells and whistles. Which kind of leads me to my next one, which is Meadows at Mystic Lake Casino. Turns out I love to gamble, and this beautiful course on the tribal lands has natural grasses and streams throughout. You feel like you are golfing on the plains of the 1800s. And at any point, like a wolf or a buffalo might appear. It's beautiful setup, beautiful setting. They should give you a horse-drawn covered wagon instead of a cart. But instead, they give you a leather bucket seats in the golf course with Bluetooth speakers, a cooler hanging off the side, ball washer attached. I mean, the golf carts are insanely nice.
I love
Yeah.
it. Bill, what do
Can't
you
wait.
got?
I haven't played that one. I was going through my list and I was thinking about I could list 10 golf courses in Minnesota that might have made my list. Pat, what's the one that we always play with Swarty?
Oh, it's
Golden Eagle?
yeah, that was
Golden
fun.
Eagle or Golden Valley?
Golden Eagle.
Yeah, I mean it's just yeah, it's awesome. To your earlier point about just playing with your boys, right? It's just it's a great one. I ended up for my number 3 though because I had a Deacons, I had the classic Madden's. Isn't that what it's called up there in Brainerd? Yeah, another really fun one. But I went with one that's got a different feel. It's the one on my top 5 that is Richie Rich Country Club, swanky, like old money, Interlaken in Edina, Minnesota.
You played
And
that?
I had the good fortune to play it a few times with my buddy Nix, Blake Nixon. And that court, you just drive into Interlaken and it's like you are transported into a different time and space. And it is the old school country club, the clubhouse, everything about that golf course. That golf course is immaculate. And I know how it's super expensive, exclusive to join. So I felt really lucky and fortunate to be able to play it. Really fun holes. They just one that's sort of for the history side of golf. In 1930, the U.S. Open was played there, and Bobby Jones hit a ball that
skipped across the water.
Skipped across, right? And so they have a plaque on the ground that's the lily pad shot because they say it hit a lily pad and skipped over. So we all got to go over there and try the lily pad shot. And I tried to just put this 5-iron back in my stance and really just skip it across. I didn't make it, but it's just such a fun golf course. And I tell you what, the other thing too is not only just the clubhouse and the field, that the food was amazing. The drinks, the service is probably the best at any golf course I've ever had anywhere in the world. And at the turn, they have one of those like snack shacks or whatever, just as you make the turn and you're going into the back nine. And they have the best molasses cookies you will ever. I could have sat there and just ate these cookies for ridiculous. So good. Anyway, Interlaken's my number 3. And then number 2 is another country club out here right in my neck of the woods. I live in Fall City, Washington, which is just east of Seattle. And right next to us is a town called Snoqualmie. And there's, of course, the TPC at Snoqualmie Ridge. And this is my favorite golf course in the state of Washington. It is unbelievably beautiful, you guys. The Snoqualmie Falls, which is an amazing, beautiful waterfall. You're looking out, I think it's the 11th or the 12th tee box, I can't remember, but you see the falls just off to your left there. They have a beautiful par 4 14th hole that it's risk reward. You can drive the green. It's this giant ravine, super downhill. You're going to see deer. You're going to see this golf course is stunningly beautiful and in great shape. Super hard test. So TPC Snoqualmie Ridge is my number 2. Bierman, what do you have for your 3s and 2s?
All right. So for my number 3, I actually don't remember the exact name but it was some course in Oahu, Hawaii. It might have been Waikili Country Club. I did Google and look to see some that might have been near
Do you
where
want me to
I
help you with the
played. It might have been
pronunciation?
that one. I don't remember. Sure.
Wakalikiliki. Wakakaliki. It means
Yeah. Thank you.
That's the
awesome.
Irish
Its
pronunciation.
translation is awesome golf course.
Awesome golf course.
Loosely
yes.
translated. Yeah.
I remember it being very expensive, and I had to rent clubs, which I hate renting clubs. It just really bothers me. But I was in Hawaii. I'm like, I want to golf. But, you know, at the end of the day, it was golf in Hawaii. It was incredibly gorgeous. You look out, you see the Pacific Ocean. The weather was perfect. The course was immaculate. The views were just stupid. So whatever course that was definitely top 5 for me. And then number 2, my buddies and I started going on a golf trip every year a few years ago, and we started with Stream Song down in Florida. Incredible resort. It's about an hour or so outside of Tampa. Nothing at all is nearby this place. It is so isolated. There's 3 different courses. All of them are very different from one another, but they're just all great. Stream Song Red was the best in my opinion, but all were just great. Lots of trouble everywhere, including some really giant sand traps, but the scenery was wonderful. The caddies were just incredible. We had 8 guys. We had a few different caddies throughout the 3 or 4 days we were there, and all of them were just hilarious, but helpful and very nice. And the resort itself was top notch. So that is my number 2 for sure. Pat, what do you got for number 1?
All right, number 1 is Apple Canyon Lake. It's a 9-hole. My father-in-law, mother-in-law, they live on this course, and that's why I married my wife, is because her parents live on a golf course. But they're in the middle of nowhere. It's a podunk country course, never too busy, out in the country. You could drive the golf cart right out of their garage and onto the around the 9th hole and right to the start. Their house is on the 9th hole. We got a green jacket. I got my brother-in-laws are good people. My father-in-law is a gamer. He's an athlete. He's, still to this day, the guy can, at his age, and he's still just like you were saying earlier, straight,
Yeah.
and then clutch at the most opportune time. He'll jar a 20-footer. But it's a great course because my son learned how to golf there because we could just go out after dinner and let's go play the 9th hole. And that was cool. And then the kids, when they were younger, we could always go look for golf balls, almost like an Easter egg hunt, and we knew all the good spots. And I'm pretty sure it's a lot of older people in the area, and I'm pretty sure they hit the ball and they don't want to go looking for it. Or what my father-in-law said is some people will just throw golf balls in there because they know that their grandkids are out there looking for golf balls. So it's just a happy place. It's beautiful. It's right next to a lake, and that is my number 1, hands down.
Love it.
Good times.
Love that. Pat, where's that at?
That is in near Galena, Illinois. So it's about 30 minutes from Galena, which is probably the next big town. There's nothing out there. If you forget to buy milk at the store, you're not going back. It's it's way in the country. Yeah, very remote.
But that's cool.
But that's my number 1.
I love that.
All right, Bill.
Yeah.
Lay it on us, man. What do you got for number 1?
My number 1 is probably at the top of a bunch of lists if people were putting this together. And sometimes you get all the hype for a golf course, and then it may or may not deliver. Well, Pebble Beach delivers, and then some. Just in terms of incredible golf experiences, we were down there to play Monterey Peninsula, and we got to play a handful of courses that week. Amazing boys trip. But boy, Pebble, I don't know, have either of you guys played it?
I've walked it. My dad and I and my mom were there when I was probably 15 or 16, and we didn't get a chance to play it, but we walked the course. So I was on the grounds. Incredible, but no, I've never played it.
No.
Pat, have you been out there? Yeah.
No, I play 9-hole podunk country courses. That's more my jam.
It is the views, the holes, just I'll have for the rest of my life. It's a check it off the bucket list type of thing. But birdie on 2, birdie on 6. I parred the downhill par 3 on 7. I also had, I think, 8s and some 9s in there. And I did not play well overall, but just those experiences and to be out there, what an incredible, incredible golf course. I think it's like $400. It's stupid expensive to play. And now that I've played it, I don't know if I would ever go back to play it, but what a treat. Incredible. Pacific Ocean. I mean, just absolutely nuts. And I'll just finish my number 1 course with one quick story about that round. On 18, which I'm sure you guys probably know just from seeing tournaments and all that, the ocean's on your left and it's a long par 5. I hit 3-wood, 3-wood, 3-wood onto the green. I was in the bunker just short of the green, but I got up and down for par. And it was just the coolest thing, but the wind was so hard in my face that I actually hit 3-wood, which I used to hit 3-wood off the tee. So that's why it was 3-wood, 3-wood, 3-wood. But just incredible. The wind, the weather, the experience, everything about it was just phenomenal. What do you got?
I did play it in the simulator.
The sim?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It's on my bucket list. That's awesome. I was hoping one of you two had played that and could talk about it. So glad to hear that, Bill. For me, number 1 is Arcadia Bluffs up in northern Michigan. It's on the shores of Lake Michigan. Lake views and the majority of the holes. There are bluffs everywhere. The course and the resort are both just gorgeous. You kind of think you're in Ireland or Scotland. And to add to that, at 5 o'clock every night, they seriously have a guy playing the bagpipes on the 18th hole as people finish for the day. Just such a fun weekend up there with my boys. Definitely recommend it. One of the best courses, the best course that I've ever played.
Probably not far from it.
All right,
now.
guys.
Grab my clubs and go.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Arcadia
not,
Bluffs, man. Yeah, you're in Jackson. You're just a couple hours away. So, all right. Well, that was fun. Always love hearing about other great golf courses. Thank you, gentlemen. We are going to move on to Nailed It. And as always, I'm very interested to hear how we're doing in this awesome contest. So, Bill, can you share a little bit about our results from last week?
Yeah, I mean, Pat, of course, Eric wants to hear about this because he's putting it on us right now at the moment. Eric,
I honestly didn't know that, but I'm glad to hear that.
I'm just teasing, but yeah, you're rolling along, and another good week for Eric in episode 7. Eric ended up with 2 points last week. I had 1 point. Pat had 1 point, and then we have the outstanding question still is World Series champ. How many games will they play? The grand total through last week is Bierman 13 points, Sanders 11 points, and Pat 5 points. So Eric's got a nice little lead cooking on us at the moment. Cincinnati is in the lead.
All right,
so
let's keep it going.
Yeah, let's get the Sandman text thread up, the podcast thread up, boys.
Got it.
So you can get your answers going. Okay. Without further ado, question number 1. So the Huskies travel to Kinnick. You guys know it was part of my Stone Cold Locks. They're playing 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, which is kind of fun. Get the game out of the way and have the rest of the day to mess around. I always like the early games. But I think this might be a punt fest between these two teams. 2 good defensive teams. The question is, how many total punts will there be in this contest? The UW is averaging 3.16 punts per game, and Iowa is averaging 3 punts per game. Okay, this got bullseye potential all over it. So, how many total punts will there be in the game? Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, send.
Wow.
All right, Bierman and I both guessed 7. Clet, 10. Nice. Pat is really, hey, I love that for my under, though. If it is 10, Pat. I love that. Bierman, what were you going to say?
No, I actually think Pat's going to win that one. I think
it's going to be more. Yeah. I almost guess 8 also because it's episode 8 and it's my lucky number, but I chickened out. What's up?
Almost guessed 8 too.
Did you? Yeah. I had 8 in there. I actually deleted it and then put
Yeah.
7. All right, question number 2. So Robert Saleh became the first NFL head coach to be fired this year or this season, and his Jets are actually playing on Monday Night Football this week against their in-state rival, the Buffalo Bills. How many total rushing yards will there be by the two starting quarterbacks? Okay, Josh Allen for the Bills is averaging 32 yards per game, and Aaron Rodgers, take a guess. What do you guys think he's averaging in rushing yards?
-2.
6.
Close, Bierman. 4. Nice. All right, so the total combined average is 36 yards per game between those two guys. All right, so total rushing yards for Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers. Bierman, if we guess the same exact thing, something's up.
I know, this is
it's crazy.
getting a little irritating.
All right. 3, 2, 1, send.
Do you guys need some alone time? I could cut out.
Pat, hit
Yeah.
send.
Are you going to send your pick
I
here,
did.
Pat?
I sent it to my mom. I was texting my mom. She'd be like, "What the heck is that?" That's awesome.
What's this number?
I hope your guess wasn't 69.
No,
Patrick,
no.
what's this number?
Yeah, that would be bad.
28.
No, I
All
got
right, Pat guessed.
When your mom texts you gotta reply.
Yeah.
You know.
You got to handle that. You just got to make sure you're replying
That's
to the
I
right
normally don't have
That's
my
an
phone on me when I'm, out here performing.
Yeah. Sanders guessed 44, Bierman 50, Pat 28.
And my mom says
Question
hello.
number 3. All right, we've got a bunch of pivotal games happening on the diamond tomorrow. We're recording this on a Wednesday, so this question's for tomorrow, Thursday, October 10th. Pat, did you ever see how the Yankees Royals
No,
score
I
was
turned
going?
off the TV because I wanted to remain focused.
All right, nice. I haven't checked either since
No.
it was 2-2. Okay, so this is the two games are Cleveland at Detroit, and I believe Detroit took a 2-1 lead.
Yes, that's
today,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the Yankees are at the Royals. Okay, how many total strikeouts will there be in the two games? Here's some data for you guys. Cleveland, Detroit had 21 Ks each total, but in each of the first two games. Okay, I didn't check, wasn't able to check today's stats, but in the first two games they averaged 21 strikeouts. New York and Kansas City averaged 20 Ks in their first two games. Okay, so it's combined. The average has been 21 and 20. Okay, so combined strikeouts for tomorrow. I actually don't know the starting pitchers. That would have been probably a good thing to throw in there. Okay.
Pod
Are you guys ready?
Papelbon.
3, 2, 1, send. I'm the highest with 37. Pat's the lowest with 22. And Eric went 31. Question 4. I'm sure Pat is so excited about this. The WNBA finals start tomorrow, Thursday, 10:10. Pat's beloved Minnesota Lynx battling the Liberty. How many total points will be scored in game 1? The over-under is listed at 159.5 points.
Ooh, that's close.
Minnesota averages 82 points per game. The Liberty average 85. The Lynx are allowing 82 points per game, and the Liberty are allowing 78 points per game. Okay, now I'm just going to reiterate one stat. The Lynx average 82 points per game, and they're allowing 82 points per game, and they're in the finals. That seemed crazy to me. Okay. How many total points will be scored in game 1? All right, I got to actually think. Okay, are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, send.
Ooh.
Fuck.
Bierman, okay.
Bierman's got to nail it.
Bierman's he's boxed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's boxed in. So Bierman guessed 160. Pat guessed 161, and I guessed 155. Pat wants high scoring. I want low scoring. Eric needs to be perfect. All right. Question number 5 to finish Nailed It, episode 8. The PGA Tour heads to the lava fields of Utah. This Black Desert Championship, have you guys seen the pictures from this golf course? Unbelievable. You got to go look at this golf course. First of all, I didn't even realize there were lava fields in Utah. This thing is built like, I played a course in Hawaii, and it wasn't Kapalua, it was something else, but it was like built in amongst the lava rocks, and it was nuts hard, so hard. Okay,
Was it
my
Kamana
question
Wanalea?
is, that is exactly the one that it was.
It was, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was. This is an impossible question, but perfect for nailed it. There's never been a PGA Tour event at Black Desert. My question is, what will the winner's score be to par? Okay, we have no clue, no history, no anything.
Oh, that's a good one.
This was Tom Weiskopf's last course design before he passed away as well, which I thought was kind of
My
cool.
dad went on
This
a double
course
date
is
with Tom Weiskopf.
nuts.
True story.
You're kidding.
Facts. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the winner's score to par to be in this tournament that's never been played? Okay. This is just awesome question. Okay. What do I even want to guess? I have no idea. Okay. 3, 2, 1, send. Oh, shoot. I'm boxed in this time. Damn it. Okay. Bierman -15. Sanders -14. Pat -10. All
I
right.
changed it last second for -12.
Oh, I wish you would have went in at 12. God, that would have been so much better for me. Now I'm screwed. I just have to be perfect. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, you
If you
gotta
guys
nail
get a
it.
chance, go look at the pictures of this golf course, or if you get a chance to watch it. This place looks nuts. And
I'm not
if
doing
we ever
anything
do a
now. What's
golf-
it called?
Black Desert.
Black.
Nuts.
Awesome.
Is it dessert?
I think
or
it's called the Black-
desert?
Desert with one S.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Bierman, that's it for Nailed It.
All right.
Okay.
All right, boys. Well, thank you for another awesome show. It is sadly time to exit Sandman Sports. Want to thank our listeners, as always, for tuning in each week. As we mentioned last week, we are finally on Instagram. So please start following us there at instagram.com/enter Sandman Sports. As always, please check out our website at entersandmansports.com, where we have tons of articles, expert advice, lots of quick hit videos. Our podcasts can be found there, among other places. We just added some weekly polls, and you can see our weekly Nailed It questions and our standings there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Enter Sandman Sports. Follow us on Facebook at Enter Sandman Sports. Thank you to everyone. Have an awesome week. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Sandman. Take care, boys.
I love you, Eric.